Hey, what's up? What's up? So, if I was to give this movie out of 5, I would give this a 3.7 out of 5. I really enjoyed this movie. This is one of those movies that is actually really good to look at. And for me, audiovisual, I pay a lot of attention. I'm a big Zack Snyder fan, so I love beautiful visuals. Akina Michael Bay, Akina Christopher Nolan, they know how to do complex stories, but me, I'm a visual person. I come from the school of visuals, animator and stuff. So I'm drawn to visually beautiful productions, and this is one of them. The production design, the location is perfect, the lighting is perfect, the cinematography is awesome. My goodness, the framing, the compositions, the blocking is decent. Generally, the film looks beautiful. Number one, I really liked the costume design. And it's not just the costume design. It's a combination of costume design plus the casting, because this is perfectly cast. You get costumes, perfect casting. Basically, you get the people, then you get the clothes for the people, then you get the makeup. Really good makeup team. They did a great job with the makeup for these particular characters. And then you get the perfect location. And then you get a good cinematographer. Someone to use light and framing to capture these people the way they're supposed to be captured. Now, I have a problem with the script. It was not perfect, and it did not do justice to their personalities. But in terms of performances, I think the actors did the best with what they had. So this movie comes from who? Comes from Sense Play. It's directed by Fakiliwali and Tony Mwaura. It stars Bruce Macau. It stars Stephanie Shiko Muchiri. It stars Sanaipe Tande. Those are the three main characters, and also Kevin K1 Maina. Those are like the four main characters, and then you have now the others who are like Linda Ngendo as Nene. You have Chris Kamau as Jabu. You have Mobasi, who is Donald Oho, and you have John Karahe, who is Shane. So all these characters, as I said, perfect casting, and they're dressed so well, they look the part. This is supposed to be a grand family. The Kilimo family is grand, it's huge, it's wealthy, and so you feel the abundance in the outfit. They have nice cars, the location is perfect. And then to add to that, with the location, apart from the cinematography, which is, oh my gosh, there's a scene in a fireplace, whereby you have the fireplace, then you have Jabu and Nene, and they're having a conversation, and there's the fire in the middle, then you have two lights, then there's a pillar, and then at one point, Sanaipe Tande's character comes just in front of the fireplace, and she's in all blue, and then the camera just moves back and frames them, with the lights, Sanaipe and the light coming behind her, and then these two seats. I thought pictures like that were absolutely beautiful. And then you have this is it a car chase scene, which is not like action oriented. Cars are not banging into each other, but the camera moves back, you see the cars, follow each other, the hooting, and then you just get that sense of speed is captured very well. And then the way it's just framed, it just looks good. So cinematography was on point, costume was on point, performances were decent. I thought they were really good. I thought, plus you were just seeing characters that you're familiar with pop up. One that caught my attention was, her name is Rachel. The actress is called Joyce something. I forgot the other name, but she plays Rachel. Small role, but effective, especially when things go the way they do. And then she's somewhere in a room, she's a silhouette, and you can see like her figure, the way the cinematographer framed her. I thought those scenes were pretty cool. And then you see Kilimo Jr. just walking. I mean, there's some beautiful shots. There's some really beautiful shots in this movie. As I was saying, extra characters, I thought I saw Makena Kahuha from Subterranea. And I was like, yeah, nice surprise. So generally, in terms of production design, from makeup to costume, and by makeup, I don't mean that just making people look beautiful. They do something very interesting with Sanaipe Tande's character. In fact, the first time you see the first time you see Ntewa, who's played by Sanaipe, you'll go like, there's something wrong with this character. And as you continue learning about her, things will start making sense. So I love the costume, the makeup, and what they do with Shiko Muchiri, because Shiko Muchiri's character, she's called who? Amari. Amari, during the wedding, when you see the costumes, you see the makeup, and you go like, yeah, that's supposed to be that way. But the after is for me what I thought was interesting, because now you have to strip away a lot of that stuff and make her look natural, make her look like an ordinary person in the morning, make her look like someone who has just left the house abruptly, you know. So I thought that was pretty cool. With Akina Chris, Donald, and John, the older guys, I love their look. The three of them could make some very interesting villains. I love the look. I love the way they look like. I like their presence. I love their costume, and I love the way they were shot. Despite the fact that I maintain that they were underused, they were underutilized. Now, apart from that, the world in general, this idea of the Kilimo family, this universe that these guys have created is very, very interesting. There's a lot of potential with this, because if you look at this particular story, which I thought was extremely convoluted because they put in so much in such a short time, that you feel that I thought there was just so much for the audience to process. Because number one, you have the Kilimo family as influential in terms of politics and all these other things in the world. Then you have the relationship between Kilimo Jr. and Jafari. That in itself is a movie. Then there's an idea of what happens to girls within the Kilimo family. That is a story in itself. How Amari and Jafari met, that is a story in itself. Dewa, Sonic Peitande's character, she gives a very interesting performance because she's laid back but powerful. She's subtle, but you can feel her power, her presence. Number one, because of the costumes. God damn, the costumes. And then her performance, because she's supposed to be subtle, but it's all in the eyes, it's all in the posture, it's all in the space between saying one word to the other. That, so that slow delivery that just gives you an idea of how grand this character is. Dewa herself is a story in itself. I'll talk about that later, because this universe is so rich, and I thought they did an injustice in just cramming so many things into this one story. Yeah, it was kind of exhausting, and then because of that, now they are forced to use a lot of exposition to explain, because you need people to understand this universe, so you need a lot of exposition. And when there's a lot of exposition, it feels like you're talking down to your audience. You're spoon feeding the audience information. Yeah? You're telling them rather than showing them. Yeah, the classic moments of show don't tell. You had a lot of moments like that. There's even a moment they try to use flashbacks with a particular letter, and you're like, yeah, it's okay, I get what you're trying to say, but it still feels like you just keep on telling me stuff. I want you to show. And that could only be done if the movie was, number one, if the story was slightly longer, say for example 2 hours or 1 hour 45 minutes, because this is 1 hour 30 minutes, 1 hour 28 minutes. Now, I do get it. When it comes to screening this in the big cinemas, 1 hour 30 minutes is perfect because you get to screen a lot of movies. 2 hours is a bad idea because you screen lesser movies. But 2 hours or 145 hour minutes could have given us enough time with these characters. Now, I'm sorry I went into the bad kidogo. The other thing that I actually liked apart from the lore is the sound design. The music is good. Actually, a lot of songs are songs that we know, they're crowd pleasers, we love them. We have some familiar musicians, we have some songs that are appropriately injected. Now, there are smaller subtle things about the sound that most people don't notice. Sound, I like to call it reverberation, sound reverberation, whereby different spaces behave differently with sound. So when they're in the car, sound does not behave the same like when they're in a house or a different place. You get that discipline here, whereby when they're in different places, the dialogue, the sound sounds different. And there are smaller details, like when you're in the house, you'll hear crickets, you'll hear birds, you'll hear, it's atmospheric. And for the sound design, I thought they did a great job with that. I think they created a very atmospheric film. When you go somewhere else during the third act, you can feel the difference in the sound design. You can feel how they speak and how sound behaves within particular spaces. But those are small details that most people will miss. So yeah, this is a great world. It's an expansive world. I think there's more to this world than what we were given. I hope that they'll think about expanding it. Now, when it comes to the things that I actually did not like, number one was the script. Yeah, the script is so theatrical, and I don't think these characters were given the space. These actors were given the space to improvise. or I don't think that the script was given more passes, or there was proper rehearsal of this, because watching these people perform, I get the sense that they internalized the characters and gave us what was on paper. They did not become these people. I see their performances and I see what was on paper. I see the script, and I'm not supposed to see the script. So, for example, Jafari and Kilimo Jr., they're cousins. They've lived together for a very long time. So I expected their relationship to be more fluid, their dialogue to be more fluid and unpredictable, rather than what we have here. Because what we have is very, very stiff. Let me give you an example. Jafari punches Kilimo Jr., Kevin K1 Minor, and they're in the car going back. And Jafari is just like, yo, I'm sorry about punching you. I hope it didn't ABCDEFG. If they're cousins and they had a relationship and they've had a longer relationship, you'd expect them to go like, Kilimo Jr., I'm so sorry that I punched you. I didn't mean to punch you. Yeah, but then again, dude, you're good. You survived car crashes, you've survived bar fights, you've survived chlamydia. You're good. That punch can't have done anything, really. And then they laugh, and then they cut to a reaction from maybe Kilimo Jr. that gives you an idea that his ego has been bruised. Other scenes is like, again, Kilimo Jr. and Ntewa, grandchild, grandma. You've seen relationship between grandma and grandchildren. They're not really extremely serious with them. Like when what Kilimo Jr. does, and they're walking down this beautifully short hallway, they're walking through the hallway, I would have expected the grandpa to go like, man, yo kid, I remember just watching you a few years ago, crawling over here, shitting everywhere, and puking everywhere, and making noise for everyone, and now here you are, representing the family. I'm so proud of you. I'm so proud of what you've done. You are, and I've never been wrong about you. You are one of my favorite people. And then he goes like, come on, grandma, you're playing with me. Acha kunichocha bana, acha kunicheza akili. So now, what happens after that is that when you get to the end and whatever happened, happens, his character will feel more tragic, because you could feel the relationship between Ntewa and Kilimo Jr. You feel that tragic moment at the end. Whatever happens, you feel it, because you knew these guys were cool, you knew they had a plan, you knew that there was a sense of humanness to them. So I thought that is what the script lacked. A bit of improvisation, or a bit of that feeling that these people have lived together, these people are relatives, they have beef. And the other really, like, there were so many missed opportunity with emotional moments that for me, I felt like I wish the script would have been given a pass, to just another pass with a very, realistic look. Like, for example, you have Nene and Jabu. You have Jabu and Nene. You have Chris Kamau and Linda Gendo. Whatever happens to Nene, right? And she's lying on the bed, and you have Chris Kamau's character standing over the bed, and then the door is knocked, and they walk out and they say whatever they say. How do I think that should have been done differently in order to solicit a reaction from the audience? Number one, because obviously we've established that Chris Kamau loved this Nene. He absolutely loved Nene. That's why he brought her into the family and forced the family to actually like her. So when whatever happens to her, I would have him lie on the bed, like he's very emotional, trying to talk to her. Number one, drunk, holding a bottle of whiskey, trying to talk to her like she's alive, apologizing, saying he's sorry. He's drunk, he's lying on the bed with her like she's alive, and he's talking to her. He's trying to really engage with her, and he keeps taking a sip because she is not responding to him anymore. He feels like his world has crumbled, everything has gone. And so when the door now is knocked, number one, he's drunk, he's very disoriented. When he walks out, he starts arguing with the brother. And now you give us an idea of how this family functions, because now he's bitter, like, we are not allowed to love, we are not allowed to have someone that we care for. Why did you kill my sister, man? Bro, you're my bigger brother, you are responsible for our well-being, and now the love of my life is gone. Why are you here in the first place? Are you not happy? Why are you not celebrating? She's gone. He's drunk. And then after that, I'll keep him that way. I'll move him from the very well-dressed character, then totally break him down. Make him wear dirty stuff, make him eat carelessly, make him be the person who's interrupting the meetings, make him feel enclosed and separated from the family. So that now, when Jafari comes back, they have that conversation, and whatever happens to him on the staircase. You have that character now looking up and going like, yo, Jafari, stop crying for me, man. Me, I'm happy. I'm just about to go see my nene. I'm just about to leave this. I'm good, man. You should be concerned about Nani. Me, I'm good. And I'm gone. And I'm thankful that this is happening. Then whatever happens to him, happens to him. Why is that important? You feel like Jabu had an arc. The person that we meet is not the person that ends up with whatever he ends up. There is a clear arc about him. Because the other thing that I did not like about this movie is that the characters don't have arcs, they have storylines. Basically, their stories are there to serve the general story. They're there to move the story forward. They don't have arcs. They don't transform over time. You know, if you look at all the characters, starting with Ntewa's character, yeah, whatever happens to her in the end, but you don't see an evolution. You know, you don't see her morph into someone different. You don't see anything challenging her beliefs. She's consistent all through. That is a storyline. And she's there to just stay within the story and help the story move forward without evolving as a character. Even Kevin Maina's character, I didn't see his evolution. Yeah, I saw he's a very dynamic character and he switches just to fit his whatever. But the first person that I met in the beginning is the same person that I meet at the end. You don't feel a difference. You don't see the character moving from. If at the end he was to change his mind and do something differently because of what the experience that he has had within the full movie and his past, then you would see the arc. You'd see that his arc actually affected him at the end. If, for example, Jafari, who's the main character, at the end changes and does something intentionally, then you believe that his arc, he has actually evolved as a character. Because again, Jafari at the end, same dude, doing the same exact thing. The only thing that changes is the facial expression. But you don't feel that the character has actually changed as a person by the end of it. Yes, you see him carrying the character and in a different facial expression, but you don't feel like he actually you don't see his transformation into whoever he becomes at the end. As for Amari, Amari is such a tragic character, but then you don't really feel the tragedy because apart from whatever was happening in her body, go watch the movie. There's nothing else we really know about the character. Yes, we know about Rachel, but again, Rachel exists in order for something else to happen. Rachel exists so that someone can go back. You get? So if, for example, you had said that Rachel and Shiko's character, Rachel and Amari came into this family with the intention of, because they know that they are marrying into a powerful family, they had a plan to come in and manipulate this dude and actually take over this family before they know exactly what the darkness within them. And so as you go in, you know that they have a plan, you know they have the objective, and then they come in and this happens. That would feel a bit more tragic, you know. It's like you walked into a trap and you paid for it, you know. Whatever you were trying to do, it happened the opposite. Basically, you feel something, you either feel happy that this happens to them, or you feel sad that this happens to them. You need something about these characters in order for whatever happens at the end, when it happens, you actually feel something for them. I kind of did not like really feel anything for them. I was entertained, yes, but I just didn't get that involuntary emotional effect. I don't know if I'm making sense. The other thing that I thought was very interesting was that, number one, are there no emergency services in this universe? And second thing, with a character like Amari, we've already established that she's a very thoughtful character because she did not want to say about whatever was going on in her body during this particular process. So, would it make sense? So if I wrote this, what I would have done, when she's left, wherever she's left, I would have her go to the police. Yeah, and then the police go like, oh, you're from where? Who? Oh, the Kilimo family. Oh yeah, we've been observing those people and we suspect them, let's go get them. Take us where the problem is. And then as they leave, you see other cops being excited and they're like, you're going to the Kilimo family? Yeah, you're going to arrest them? Yeah, so tukuje. So you have the main cop jumping into the car, and then she's placed between two cops, and they're like, yeah, we're going to get that family. That is a family full of criminals. So they go into the house, And then when they get to the house, the cops leave, they open the door for Amari. Amari is picked by the other guys, and then you see now the other family give the cops brown envelopes, and the cops are so happy. They're like, hey, thank you, sir. And she's like, what are you doing? You're supposed to protect us. And the cops look at her and go like, hey, come on, man. They own us. Asanteni sana, so they say thank you to the Kilimo family, and then one of the killers, for example, Jabu now tells the police guy, the constable, they tells him, yeah, that job for OCS, we are going to fast track it for you. You know, those moments would actually make sense because that would elevate her character and it would stay true to her character with what they had established. And then you get those things like what when Nene faints, isn't it logical to call the ambulance or something? You know, when some things are happening. And then at the end, what happens to Kevin's character? You know, Kilimo Jr., like at the end of it all, you're watching these people on the floor, you're watching him just standing at the end and the movie just ends. What happened to him? Apart from that, I thought the pacing could have been better. I thought, as much as I love this particular universe, I wish that it could have been a leaner script. Don't put in too many things in your story, especially with that ending. There's something that they did, I rolled my eyes, and it has to do with climate change and sustainability. I was like, this is not what the creative team wanted to do, but they had to put in because of, funding. Yeah, because you need funding, and in order to get funding, you need to include a few things about whatever agenda that they have. So I thought that was not needed because I was having fun. I was having fun with the first act, second act, and the better part of the third act. But then suddenly we control sustainability and climate change. And I'm like, what? What? You didn't need that. You did not need that. And then after that, there's this other thing now. We never mentioned it during the story, in the beginning of the story. It was never touched on. And then suddenly we are talking about girls within the Kilimo family and what happens to them at the very end. You see, that in itself is a totally different story. It was not supposed to be there. It just makes it more convoluted. Yes, you're expanding the universe, but it also feels like you are just putting in too many things at the wrong time. This is the third act. We are supposed to be focused on this one thing, but then these other things are just being thrown at you at that third act. Yeah, I thought that was pretty, as I said, thought that it was extremely dramatic. Yeah, you had those dramatic expressions. And I think they're necessary depending on the creative direction the directors wanted to take it. But it was a bit over the top. It was a bit too much. I think a certain sense of subtleness was needed and natural reaction to events, because it feels like they were doing it for stage, whereby everything is exaggerated because someone in the back needs to see an expression, rather than this is on screen. It can be subtle and it can be very, very powerful, like Sana. So basically that's it. When I talk about expanding the world, with a character like Ntewa, I was looking at her and I was thinking Bram Stoker's Dracula. You can do a story about her with a naive politician, a naive politician who comes in, let's say, like a person like Abel Mutua. Say, for example, he's a very naive politician. He wants to change. No, I think I need to rephrase. A character like Abel Mutua is presented like a naive politician who is very interested in taking over or becoming a governor of this particular county. And then you have, because the Kilimo family control the political landscape, anyone who wants to come into politics have to go through him. Through the Kilimo family, they have to actually get an approval from Ntewa. Ntewa is the big boss, and everyone has to go through her. And so you'd have Abel Mutua coming in as this new politician. The guy comes out of States. He used to be here as a kid and he went to the States. Now he's back and he wants to take over the political scene. And so he has to find his way in. He has a family, maybe one kid, a wife, a beautiful wife, and he loves. Actually, the movie might begin with him talking to the wife, telling her how much he loves her. And then you have a few political people coming, and then he gives them a brown envelope, and then the wife is complaining about, my husband, I love you so much, but if you keep giving these people money, we will end up broke. Politics is not an easy game. And then you have the character of Abel going like, no, don't worry, baby, I have a plan. And she's like, what's the plan, my dear? And then he's like, you know, I have the perfect person. I'm buying these smaller people, but now I have to get to the bigger fish. You know, his objective is to maybe get to the Kilimo family so that the Kilimo family can help him. And so he goes to a club because it's established that Kilimo Jr. is a DJ. You know, he's an entertainer. So he goes to this club that is owned by Kevin Kilimo Jr. And then he meets Kilimo Jr. And then we get maybe a moment with Kilimo Jr. and Jafari. You know, this is before Jafari met Amari. And then you see maybe Kilimo Jr. see Amari somewhere, and then he taps Jafari and goes like, yo, Jafari, man, that there, right there, that there is the mother of my my nephews and niece. Yeah, that there should be your wife. That woman over there was made for you. I can already see it. And so this version of Kilimo Jr. is much more responsible. He's much more tame. He's a happier person. He's much more alive. He's a good guy. He's perfect, basically. And so Jafari goes on to meet, you know, he goes to say hi to Amari, and you know that happens in this particular movie. And so now we have Abel come to speak to Kevin. And now Abel comes to speak to Kilimo Jr. because he's the DJ. Kilimo Jr. goes like, yo, I'm working right now. We'll meet outside. You know the way DJs usually brush you aside politely. So he goes like, hey, Buddha, tutaongea nje, sawa? So he does his mix. Abel goes, stands outside, waits for him. And then Kilimo Jr. comes out and is surprised to see Abel. And Abel is like, yo, I'm a politician. I'm so passionate. I come from the States. I want to bring in Formula One. I want to bring in basketball. I want to bring in parties into this county. I want to turn this into the county, whatever, of the party central county of Kenya. I want to do all these things, and that could benefit you. And I want this to happen for you. So at first, you know, Kilimo Jr. is looking at him like, you guys are just annoying. But then when he keeps talking, he sees some really good idea, and then something sparks in him, and he goes like, hey, this guy has potential. So he tells him, yo, dude, tomorrow come home. You really want to do this? The Abel goes like, yeah, I really want to do this. Are you ready to sacrifice everything? Abel goes like, yeah, anything. And then he tells him, hey, Buddha, come, pitia Kilimo family kesho. So we cut to the next day, we see Abel coming. Now he meets Akina Donald, Akina Chris Kamau, Akina John Kararahe. He meets like the three of them, you know, and they have a conversation, and they're like grilling him like, we don't know you, where are you from, why do you want to be powerful? And he's there selling the dream. I will change everything. I will bring Formula One and turn this county into the whatever, and I know you guys are corrupt, and you're going to get 50% of the income, and I'm going to push everything. And they're asking him, are you corrupt? And he's like, no, I'm not corrupt. I'm a good guy. I'm naive. I'm all these things. Abel is not naive. So he's like, oh, I'm all this, I will do all this. And then somewhere in the dark, like Dracula, maybe somewhere in the dark, like Bram Stoker's Dracula, we see a figure in the dark, and he's questioning, she's like asking him, Dewa is like asking this young man, yeah, you have very big dreams, but are you ready to sacrifice everything for this? And he's like, yeah, I'm ready to sacrifice everything for this. And then, strangely enough, Dewa is looking at him in a certain way. He's looking at him like, dude, who are you? What's your heritage? And he's there explaining, you know, my grandmother was this, and then he mentions the grandfather's name. And then she looks at him and she goes, who was your grandfather? She says, Nani, Nani, Nani. And then she goes like, tomorrow come see me in my office. And then you cut to Abel next day with now Ntewa. Ntewa is now looking, he's just looking at this dude, and he's just talking. He's just letting the dude talk. Abel is just yapping, and she's just looking at him. And she just feels like crying. You can see her feel like crying. And then we have a flashback, and then we see Ntewa. Now the Sanaipe that we know without the makeup and the old stuff, somewhere in the olden days with a guy who looks exactly like Abel, and they are somewhere in a whale fetching water. They're like in love. And then we see the scene with Ntewa's character, and we see that scene with a version of Abel in the olden days looking that they're in love, and then we cut back to the office, and she's just looking at him. And they're having this conversation, she's interrogating him, and then eventually she's just talking to him, and eventually, basically, Abel thinks that he has gotten into her head. And so within time, she starts doing her stuff. Then within time, maybe she starts doing stuff to herself, because this is a very mythological, this is a very mysterious world. You can have a law whereby for 10 years you have to do a certain ritual whereby you make the shell, basically your skin, look much younger. And so she does maybe 3 sessions of the ritual, and then now she looks much younger, like the Sanaipei that we know. The 3 sons are asking themselves, Mom, what's happening to you? What are you doing? And the mom is like, mind your own business. Kilimo Junior is like, hey, Shosho, nini endelea? Why do you look suddenly like a 35-year-old? And she's like, yeah, never mind. And so she calls Abel, and then they're hanging out with Abel. And as the movie goes on, they kind of fall in love, and then they get so emotional into this. They get so attached to each other, and so you get an idea that now Abel and Ntewa are like fully in love. They're so in love. Abel is doing everything right with Ntewa, physically, emotionally. They're going out on holidays. They're so in love. And now the 3 boys get maybe concerned, and now they're like, her mother has lost her mind. Yeah, she has fallen in love, and she's the only one who's always talking about think, not feel. She's never talking about feelings. And look at her. Look at her right now. She's in love. We need to take over. We need a mutiny. We need to take over from her. Mr. Mobasi, you need to take over because you are the firstborn son. We need to organize to overthrow her because she has lost the plot. This is affecting business. This is affecting the family. This Abel Mutua is our biggest nemesis right now. We need to get rid of him. And then Mobasi is like, we are not allowed to do anything because our culture has rules. We need to go to the foundation. So they go and speak to their God. They do this ritual. They speak to this God. And then this dude, you remember this dude from the first scene in the movie? Yeah, this old dude, the guy who does whatever does. He pops up now as a representation of the gods, and he's like, yo, why have you summoned me? Why have you woken me from my dreams? Why have you woken me from, I was in paradise. Why have you brought me back? And they're like, yo, dude, our mother has lost her ways. We need to overthrow her. We need to get rid of her, and you cannot get rid of her without your permission, your greatness. And then the greatness says, no, you're lying. You're a bunch of kids. You're supposed to be my great-great-grandchildren, but you're lying, you little bastards. What exactly do you want? Do you want to kill your mom? Then they're like, no, we don't want to kill her. We just want to overthrow her because she has clearly lost her way. And then the old man says, the greatness says, okay, let me investigate because I don't trust you little bastards. You're greedy. You want power. So now he goes into the car, and in the car he meets Akina, he meets Jafari, he meets maybe Kilimo Jr. And Kilimo Jr. and Jafari are frightened out of their heads because they've always heard of this guy, but now he's seated in the back of their car, asking them about the car, asking about the mobile phone, asking them about this future, and they can hardly speak because they are terrified because of this figure who's behind them. So now when he comes into the house, he meets a very jovial, a very happy Sanaipei Tande, a very happy Ntewa. She looks vibrant, she looks extremely young. Now she looks like a 20-year-old because she has been doing this holy ritual, refreshing the flesh, and she looks very young. And now the greatness, this old man asks her, what are you doing? You're supposed to be the head of this family. What has gotten into you? And she's like, no, there's nothing wrong. Me, I'm good. And she's like, look at you. You're supposed to look much older than you are. You made yourself look younger. Why? And she's like, no, me, I'm good. I'm easy, man. There's no stress. I'm just good. I've been doing all this stuff. I've been just living my life. I've been enjoying life. You're not supposed to enjoy life. People in this family are supposed to be miserable. That's the curse of the Kilimo family. And they're like, no, I'm easy. I'm good, man. I'm just chill. Like, oh, I know. Is this love? Are you in love? You're behaving like someone who's in love. No one is supposed to fall in love in this world. Remember, think, not feel. And so she goes like, no, I'm okay. Yeah, I saw someone who looks like my first love, but they're not related. Yeah, the person might be their great-great-great-grandchild. But yeah, he's just a kid. And so the old man disappears like poof, and then he appears inside Abel's Mutua's house, poof, and then the wife is dead. He's like, oh my gosh, who are you? And then Abel is like, hey dude, who are you? And then the old man looks at Abel and goes like, so it's you. Are you the one who's trying to destroy my family? The family that I worked so hard to build. Are you the virus, the person who's been trying to destroy all these things that are built? And then Abel is like, no, I don't know what you're talking about. I don't know who you are. I'm like, I'm the original Kilimo. Who are you? And then he's like, no, me, I'm Abel, man. And I thought you're supposed to be dead a long, long, long time ago. And then the guy is like, no, 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 no. You're trying to fuck around with my family. You're a politician, right? Are you corrupt? The guy goes, no, no, no. Me corrupt? No, me, I am naive. I'm an idiot. I'm from the States. I am naive. I don't know what I'm doing. I just want to get these people into making this clear. And it's like, no, you're lying, you little bastard. Do you love your wife? And the wife's like, yeah, I love him so much. And the guy's like, also, I love my dad and my wife. I love her. And then the wife goes, I love him too. We even have a child. And the old man goes like, you're lying, you little bastard. So he snaps his finger like 3 times. Pap, pap, pap. And Abel is hypnotized. Abel Mutua is suddenly hypnotized. He's in a trance. Like, and then the old man asks him, what is your name? He says, I'm Abel Mutua. Are you a politician? He says, yes. Are you married? Yes, I'm married to my wife. My wife has 1 kid. Her name is Martha. And Martha is a very beautiful woman. And then he goes like, are you corrupt? Then he says, yes, I am corrupt, but I pretend to be naive. And then the old man also asks him, now the biggest questions, are you having a relationship with a Kilimo member? He goes, yes, I'm having a relationship with Ntawa Kilimo. Why are you having a relationship with Ntawa Kilimo? I want to snake myself into that family so that I can have political influence, so that I can take over the family and take over the world. And the wife now there he's terrified. The wife is like, what? How can you do this to me, Abel? And the old man is like, hey, wife, chill, you're not done. Then he asked the most important question, do you love your wife? And he hesitates and he goes like, no. And the Martha, the wife, loses her mind. She's like, what? You've been lying to me. The old man goes, chill, just wait. And so the old man goes like, so why did you marry her? She's so beautiful. And then Abel Mutua goes like, she's a trophy wife. She's there to make me as a politician look good. She's there for me to have beautiful kids. She's there for me to serve my image. You know, after 10 years when I get into power, I'm going to divorce her and marry a younger, more beautiful wife. And then the old man looks at the wife, grabs Abel, and then tells the wife, you don't deserve to have him. You deserve a better man. And then he snaps his finger. Both of them appear in a house with Ntewa. Ntewa is there looking beautiful, and then suddenly the greatness, the man, the Kilimo himself is standing there, and he's holding Abel, and he's asking Ntewa, is this love that has stopped you from functioning, doing what your family is supposed to do? Now obviously he has a knife. And then she's like, no, it can't be. I don't love him. It's just lust. You know, this is what you're supposed to do. You're supposed to lust from someone. You're not supposed to ideally love someone, but you love him. She's like, no, I don't love you. Then as the knife comes closer into Abel's chest, he asks her, do you love him? And then she says, yes, I do. I've always have. He is the grandchild of the first love of my life. I can't afford to lose him. Please, don't take him away from me. Then, as slowly as the knife starts going into Abel's chest, the old man tells Ntewa, this is what the Kilimo family is about. You're not allowed to be happy. You're not allowed to have relationships. You forgot your own biggest rule, which is think. You're not supposed to feel. You're supposed to think. And at that time, the knife is just slowly going into Abel's chest. Abel is screaming his lungs out like, please help me. Ntewa, I'm so sorry. I tried to play you. I tried to use you. Please, I am so sorry. I have a family. I have a kid. And the man is like, no, shut up. You are corrupt. You are here to destroy my family. And now you must be destroyed. You're not even a really good person. And you're going to die. And Ntewa is begging, please don't kill him. He is a representation of something that I lost a long time ago, and I cannot afford to lose him again. But then the Kilimo reminds her who Kilimos are, and then he stabs Abel, and Abel dies. And then you have that moment whereby Ntewa is looking down at Abel, and then you cut to her on a graveside of a version of the first love who was Abel during those particular days, and she's crying on his grave. And now she's crying on his body when he's lying down. And then Kilimo lifts her up and tells her, you need to remember who you are, who the family is. Basically, what I'm trying to say in Tewa is that your sons sent me here to get rid of you because they want to take over from you. Right? And what I've done for you is not kill you. I've just given you a chance to redeem yourself. I'm not here to kill you. I'm supposed to come here and kill you, but I hope I've reminded you about who you are. Take care of the family. And then boom, it disappears. And now Teo is back to her former self. And now as she walks into the room and she finds, the three sons and maybe Kilimo Jr. somewhere in the corner, and the three sons are seated around, and she goes like, have you guys seen Training Day? Denzel Washington, that King Kong had got shit on me. So she goes like that on them. She's like, you little bastard, I get back on you and you try to overthrow me. This is my house. I own the Kilimo family. I am the one. You little bastard are nothing. I was the leader of this family before you boys were born. Because when you are a sperm, you are just ideas when I took over this family. And you tried to take over from me. You saw this opportunity and you thought you were going to mess around with me. Kiss the ring or leave the house. And they're like, no, mama, we're sorry, tuligusa mulima, pore, we are never going to do it again. They're like, no, you kiss the damn ring or you'll be exiled from this family and go rot forever and ever. Kneel down and kiss the ring. Remember who the queen mother is. And so they have to take nails, kiss the ring and stuff. And now Kevin is looking at her grandmother and he's so proud. And so now you have Akina Kilimo Jr. looking at the grandmother and he's so happy because at one point Kilimo Jr. tried to tell Ntewa, this guy is not genuine, this Abel is not genuine, he's something, and she dismissed him. And now Kilimo Jr. just looking at her grandmother, he's so proud of her, and then gives her the cane, and then the grandmother walks away and he looks back at him and goes like, yo, thank you, but I'm sorry that I did not believe you. And then she goes upstairs, she's looking down the window, and then you see a very happy Kilimo Jr. go open a car, and then you have the girlfriend, and then they are dancing, they are having a good time, and Dewa is looking up from above, she's so sad, and then the movie can end with Kilimo Jr. promising the girlfriend that I will always take care of you, I'll always be there for you, I will never leave you, and I'll never let anything bad happen to you. And then cuts, it ends. Man, I'm telling you, but anyway, that's me basically being that soccer fan who pretends to know everything about a game, who looks at a game and goes like, if I was the defender, I would have done this. If I was the striker, I would have done this. So that's basically it. That's just basically, I just think that this universe is so broad. There's so much potential in these stories. There's so much potential in expanding this particular universe because it goes beyond just being a story about traditions. There's so much potential in giving us more about this family, giving more about these traditions. So this was a long review. Some things I didn't need to talk about them, but I just talked about them because that's how I felt. But generally, that's it. Remember to always watch what you enjoy. So yeah, this movie is in the theaters. It's also on Philip TV. I'll leave a link below if you want to go watch the movie for yourself because yeah, it has a lot of potential. It's a very good looking film. I think above all things, it's a very good cinematic experience. I would advise you to go see it in the biggest screen possible. Why? Because it's a very beautiful picture.